Hello and welcome to the Qreative Life podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Qureshi, but you can call me Q. Today, I have a guest who I think the last time I saw her in person was one late spring day in like 1981, maybe.
Maybe.
It's been we knew each other as very small children. You lived across
Yes.
the street. Your family lived across the street from mine. We went to the same church. We were like very in each other's lives constantly. And
I
then
think I
we
married
moved.
your brother.
Yeah, you did. You guys are the
Well,
same age, right?
my sister married us. You're like 6 or 7.
It was so funny. Yes, that's right. We did some crazy things. Like I have all these memories of us doing the craziest shit,
Yeah.
including dressing up like aliens in like garbage bags and like parading around the neighborhood. It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Then like we moved away and I completely lost track of you and your family. And then fast forward a few decades and we reconnected on social media, which is a magical and amazing place that you can do that. And I was stoked to find out what became of you because you turned into a badass artist, right?
Thanks.
Okay, so welcome to the podcast, Rita Toikka. She's an academic, a teacher of art, and a sculptor, and just an all around force for good. And so I'm so happy to have you here and to hear about this journey. Talk to me. Like, how did you
Okay.
end up where you are now?
Oh my God. How much time do you have?
We have all the time you need.
I read your about bio and I was like, this is a girl after my own heart. Because when I first started writing my bio, I was like, okay, how far back do I go to explain why I am the way I am?
Right.
So I think at some point I had, Rita Toikka comes from a long line of fruits and nuts, which makes her perfectly suited to study psychology and art. And I was like, oh, I don't think my family is going to like that, but it's true. And then eventually I whittled it down to the most generic 30 words possible, because that's what some people ask for. But now you've inspired me to
Good.
just go for it and just be myself no matter what, which I'm trying to do more of, live more authentically and not have to dance so delicately around everyone all the time. Because I came from music. I was working in LA. I was doing rock and roll. I was screaming things like, you can be my bitch. And I was born to fuck. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so after 10 years in LA, I was like, I hate this. Music industry sucks. This isn't fun anymore. I just left and I found my way to Arizona in the middle of nowhere, right in the middle of the state. It's so peaceful. It's quiet. It's rural. It's mountain, desert. So we're like a mile high. I ended up here and I was like, I am so flippin' bored. I'm going to go to college. That was my third.
Excellent.
I'm going to be a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's go to college. So I bartended for a while. Not for me. I'm not good at babysitting adults. I hate it. I was like, you're fired. Get out of here. I don't like any of you. What's wrong with you? You're in public.
Right.
But, so I went to school I'm sorry, I get sidetracked really easily.
I really enjoy. No, I love the side commentary.
Okay.
And I like the idea of you being a bartender that like kicks people out of your bar for existing and being an idiot.
Yes. A lot of people ended up hating me and other people liked me a lot. But after a couple years, like it had devolved into like fist fights with people. And I'm like, this is not how I envision my life. And I had someone offer to go in business with me, buy one of the bars. He would be the money and I would run it. And I had to think about it. I'm like, this is a great opportunity for someone like me who comes from nothing, has nothing. But I don't want to spend my whole life like that. I don't want to spend my life in a bar.
Yeah.
So I said no. But I went to school and I was going to school for, pre-med and it was okay.
That's awesome. I'm just like, that was not what I expected to hear from you.
I know. Nobody does. You should hear the laughs it gets and the giggles when I'm telling my students that I was pre-med and that I've taken like 4 years of chemistry. And well, honestly, I thought I would love it. I love the idea of holistic medicine and how it can help us, and it's important what we eat. I was very disenchanted with doctors not discussing like the fact that what we put in our bodies really matters for our health. They're like, oh, we'll just give you a pill. It's just too much gas. I'm like, how about telling him that he's drinking a bottle of vodka and that's bad for his stomach? And then I thought, well, maybe I'll go to a school for homeopathy. But then I started recognizing the pseudoscience.
Mm.
And yes, while so much of it, alternative and complementary medicine, is so wonderful and really are no harmful side effects, it is, I think, meant to be complementary.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So, where I'm sure if you're into holistic stuff, I'm sure you've heard about like drink some olive oil and then a cup of lemon juice and you will
Yes.
pass kidney stones. And
Uh-huh.
they like have these little pictures of these little balls and they're like cutting them up. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't cut a kidney stone with a butter knife, lady. Let me
Yeah.
look into this. And it's an easy scientific explanation. It's saponification. That's a reaction happening between the oil and the acid in our stomachs. And it's just got some like digestive juices and stuff attached to it. So it comes out like these little balls. And I was
Is
like,
it good for
okay,
you? I
no,
mean, it's not good for you, right?
it doesn't do anything for you.
Okay. Okay.
But I was like, okay, I have to go to real school and learn the science behind stuff so I can say, okay, this is valid, this is not. So I learned so much. I understand. I can read research papers. I hate chemistry research papers. The most boring ever. I would never want to.
I can't even imagine. Why would you want to? Like, people who like chemistry, they are not my people. I love them and respect them, but we have no, like, anybody that would get excited about that, I don't think that we have a whole lot to talk about.
But yeah, I do love understanding how things work. So I'm like always driven to find answers. But working in a lab was the most boring thing I ever did. And no, I mean, the most interesting things is like getting your reaction going and then you sit around forever in fluorescent lighting. we got to work we got to go through organic phthalocyanines. So what we were doing is we were working in conjunction with U of A to work on organic photovoltaics, which is like solar panels. So we were inserting different metals and stuff into like trying to create an organic version of solar panels instead of plastics. So the colors were beautiful. So if you're an artist at all, and I know you are, you understand the word phthalocyanine and like phthalocyanine blue or phthalo green. I mean, those do come from nature. So I spent most of my time in the lab taking pictures of the reactions because they were so pretty.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So yes. So science. Yay. And then I realized what medical school is all about and the fact that they indoctrinate people into just shilling for big pharma. And I'm I hate the insurance companies. I hate the pharmaceutical companies. And I don't think we have a real system of healthcare in this country. So I had thought about, am I going to just battle my way through 4 more years of school, 4 years of residency, and then the system? Am I going to survive this kind of battle at my age? And I decided no. And even at the time, I was starting to have some health concerns, which I find out is mostly from stress. So I got rid of, I know I have a husband now. But he was a big problem.
Husband. I love it.
But yeah, so all that stress, and they're like, well, you have to reduce your stress. You have to, eat a different diet and exercise regularly and get 8 hours of sleep. I'm like, wow, the medical school's not conducive. It's very ableist.
No, and let me just say, I have a friend who is she's a doctor, like she trained for Western medicine, but she also went and did like this homeopathic
Yeah.
track also, because she also feels it's very complimentary. And we had this conversation and we were talking about how, the way that we train doctors in Western medicine is so absurd, because these are the people that are supposed to be teaching you how to take care of yourself. And instead, medical school is really about trying to break you and pushing you beyond any normal idea of what is healthy.
Exactly.
Like they're working like the work level is
Mhm.
insane. The stress is
Mhm.
insane. And it's like, how is that person then going to be able to turn around and help other, if they're ignoring their own health and their own
Yes.
well-being? And so many people have gone through that. It's like a meat grinder. It's really, really bad. And these are the people that are our healers. And I'm like, that is
It
just
is.
absurd.
I
That's absurd.
and it's very ableist. I stayed up for 3 days, what's wrong with you? So, I was like, "Okay, well, this isn't gonna be my path." It was a lot of fun. My chemistry teacher was surprised that I never opened the book once, but I got straight A's. He's like
Good.
I said, "You're just a good lecturer, like, I listened to you." He's also the only person who looked he's a very gruff man, and people were terrified of
Hmm.
him. I'm not scared of anybody. Like, I came from LA, I
Hmm.
came from the music industry. I have my, like, big boots and chains and weird stuff on. I'm like the alley cat someone let in the house. Trying to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to behave, in this kind of academic setting, and I asked him a question in class, and he looked at me, he goes, "That's the stupidest question I ever heard." And I just said, "Well, are you gonna answer it or not?"
Did
Yes,
he?
he did.
Okay, good. Excellent.
He's a very nice man, ultimately. He's just kind of gruff, and I don't blame him after being in academia for so long.
Mm.
Yeah, so I decided, oh, well, I've got to reduce stress. Of course, I didn't think that it was my relationship, because I thought, well, I'm good under pressure. I'll just be an emergency room doctor. I won't have to deal with stuff. It's just like problem solve,
Mm.
quick, quick, quick. And then I started realizing through therapy and other things that it's the reason I can be so good under pressure, and like someone's like sliced open and I'm like, boom, I'm there. I can handle it. Don't stress. I don't wig out. Is because like this hyper vigilance
Mhm.
that's omnipresent from
Yep.
having such a traumatic life
Yes,
growing up.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And
You're singing my song right now.
so it's like, oh, I see. I'm good in an emergency because I'm always prepared for that emergency because it will happen at any given time through my life. So, just like my friend told me, my empathetic dog might be too empathetic for healing work with others. She feels too much. Maybe that's not a good path for me either.
Mhm. Okay.
So I said I was in music. I did woodworking and stuff back in high school. I've always in music. I taught myself Photoshop so we could have the coolest band posters ever.
Of course.
And yeah, so back then in what was that, the aughts? Oh my God. Yes, like 20 years ago, all the posters were like boring little black and white photocopies. And so we made these like 11 by 17 full color prints. And MySpace had kind of just come out, and we could put music on there without having
Oh,
to
yeah.
pay for a website. So we're like,
Yeah.
and so people started calling us the MySpace band. I was like, no, but okay, I get it. Yeah, we're advertising it on our flyer. And after that, just it was an explosion of color in LA. But because
Mm.
we stood out so much with our posters.
Did you guys record?
Yes. Oh, music broke my heart. The industry broke
Oh.
my heart. But yeah,
Oh,
we
no.
recorded a bunch of songs and went through lots of different iterations of things. And at some point, I just told my producer, like, look, we want to record our songs. We want it raw. We had done a demo and I hated it. It was too polished and produced. Ugh. But
Yeah.
and so I said, look, we're just gonna do a couple of takes, and if we don't get it in a few takes, it doesn't go on the record. Here's like $10,000, which I think we borrowed from my bass player's dad. Poor man never got it back. And when we got into the studio, he's like, well, I can't actually do that because I can't mic you all. I don't have the studio facilities to do that. He had like a tower on top, a small little actual tower on top of some
Wow.
building in LA. And so I'm like, okay, fine, we can at least play together, or we can do some tracking and stuff. And then he just went nuts with like vocal comps and redoing drum tracks and setting them to like metronomes. And then every time I would argue and say, no, 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 he's like, have an open mind, have an open mind. And he would spend hours doing these things, ask us to lay tracks on top of these things. And then at the end go, you're right. It doesn't sound as good as I'm like, but then getting time in there was impossible. He was always trying to make money and getting other people in there. And after like 5 years, I was ready to murder him. I was ready to murder
Yeah.
everybody.
5 years is a long ass time
Yes.
for one album. Yeah.
And we paid him lots of money to come in and like work with us, get our rehearsals really tight, work with our drummer, we had different bass players. We lost our drummer during this time. She was like, I'm kind of done with this. My bass player, she's born in Israel, but became like a Jew for Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
I was like, okay, girl, like her boyfriend
You do you.
was Christian. I don't understand why she couldn't be in the band anymore, but he didn't like some of my lyrics. I'm like, really, which ones? And she mentioned some, and then she goes, but he really likes Robot Love. I'm like, really? The song about like prostitution and people using robots and stuff like that, and like
Yeah.
uh, sex for money. Like, yeah, okay. But in any case, that was her path. And, once that piece was missing, it was kind of like I felt like on my own in a way.
Mm.
And I really just, even though I finally got the manager I wanted, the guy who introduced Jane's Addiction to the world, he was like, I'm going to take a gun down there. I'm like, no, you're not, to get my hard drive.
Wow.
I was like,
That's a manager. I'm just going to say that is a manager.
I
Hey.
I love you fighting for me, but I don't think that's going to work. He got some lawyer to draw up a contract. I'm like, he's never going to sign this. This is saying he has no rights to anything, and I don't agree to it. I got my friend who is new to entertainment law to draw up a contract, and he wouldn't even look at it. And the relationship just deteriorated so badly. I think the last thing I said was fuck off as I walked down the stairs. He did actually reach out and apologize to me a couple of years later, saying he felt like he ruined my music career. And
Oh,
I can't
well,
argue
that's
with him,
nice.
but yeah, kind of fucking did.
Wow.
We were slotted to play like in Seattle's Rocker Girl Fest. There's at the college station, this gal wanted our music for her theme song, and she would play us all the time until they figured out what I was saying in some of the songs. Yeah, but you can't go and promote and tour and do stuff without an album. You need something to sell, right?
Right.
So after 5 years too, when my manager's like, it's fine, we'll re-record, or we'll do this, we'll get a new band. And I just kind of found my way to the bottom of a bottle. And I was like, no, I'm tired of these songs. I don't want to have to teach other people how to play them again. I was so over it. And I had done a
Yeah.
commercial for Camel cigarettes. And again, the producer was like, I'm like, okay, we did this commercial. And they're like, okay, let's try another song. We like this song. Can you edit it down to whatever, 30 seconds or whatever it is they wanted, a minute and a half? And he was supposed to get it to me, and midnight passed, and I was like, that's it. I'm done. Put a fork in me. I can't do this anymore. My friend was in Arizona. She's like, I'm on a road trip. Come meet me. So I drove all night, and I met her in Sedona,
Wow.
and we bounced around for like a week. She had her little dogs with her, and we just came all through the central Arizona. And then I was like, this place is so beautiful and calming, and the opposite of Los Angeles and what I'm doing. I went back to LA. I tried to start a new project with another producer who does quite well for himself, called Knives and Gasoline.
Mm.
Yeah, so a lot of
Sounds
radio.
intense.
Yeah, so again, it was one of those things. Do I want to go down this? Do I want to? Because it's not just, oh, I got it out and it's over and I moved on. You have to get it
Yeah.
out, and then you have to support it for like a year at least, or two.
Yes.
And I don't want to
Yeah.
live in that space. I didn't want to live in that space anymore. So I came here, went to school.
But so, like, this is I just before you go on and talk about the I have a question there because this is such a hard thing to do. Like when you invest that much of yourself, that much time and energy and creative power and emotional labor into anything,
Mhm.
walking away is one of the hardest things you can do, right?
Yes.
For multiple reasons, and some of them are legit and some of them might just be like, psychological or whatever, which are also kind of legit. But like the question is, how did you like what was that tipping point for you when you were just like because you went back and you tried to start something new and then
Mhm.
so like what was it where you were just like I literally just cannot do this anymore?
Um, some of the tipping, there were several things that helped that. Aside from visiting Arizona and really enjoying that country life again for at least a week, it was the prospect, just this loneliness. All my friends, my close group of friends, had been scattered. They're all in different forms of the entertainment industry. And so my bass player, who was like my rock, she came to my birthday and she gave me a Bible.
Oh no.
Bless her heart. I mean, I know she means well, but I just kind of wanted to throw it in the fireplace. As you know,
Does she know
growing.
your personal history, like your religious history?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
proceed.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah,
Nightmare
yeah.
City. So, and then my old producer had also come, and I'm sitting there like with a glass of scotch and a cigarette, and that's pretty much what I lived on at the time. And he's like, "Oh, you look so good. Are you like running?" Because I was skinny. I was like 117 pounds with my hair
Wow.
wet at 5'5". That's too skinny. I wasn't
Yeah.
eating. And I was like, look, this is my, no, I'm not running. Are you crazy?
Running.
And it was just that, like, these moments of like, oh, this is what this industry is. And I played one final show with a makeshift group of friend players, and I had been hanging out at my friend Terrell's live-in warehouse art gallery where we would just jam and do all kinds of wild stuff all through the night. And so I put on a show at a place that one of our places that we played a lot. My manager was there. I hated life. I think I had 4 glasses of scotch lined up because people knew what I liked to drink. And it was just, we just punk rocked the shit out of it. It was
Hmm.
like, it was just, for me, I had to burn it to the ground to be done with
Sweet.
it. I burned it to the
Sweet.
ground. I had Taro come up. My friend with the warehouse and had him. He was just like freestyling and stuff, and people were like spitting at him
What the fuck?
because we had some followers. Some of them were very weird, and I must say, stalker. Like I had told my boyfriend,
Yeah.
if I died, look at this guy because he's got some weird. He thinks he's in a relationship with me, but yeah. And the woman who ran the club, she's like, I just don't understand. I'm like, I'm done with it, Michelle. Like, I hate it. I hate all these songs and I hate everything that has happened. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do it anymore. My manager walked out. He thought I was spitting in his face metaphorically. And to be fair, he was a very kind man and let me stay on his couch in a room for a while. But at the same time, he would show up with the bottle of whiskey to my
Mm.
practices. So he was enabling me, even though he was trying to protect me, he was enabling this just drunkenness as if it was part of my creative force.
Uh,
So
mm.
when I started hanging out more with, I'm not going to say their names because I don't need to name anyone. But when I was with the new producer, he gave me some beats. I put some stuff over it. Again, it didn't come out as angry as it would seem. It was more techno or something you could at least dance rage to. But
Cool.
again, and just like the guy from Atlantic Records and stuff, men in general, I found were always wanting more from me throughout my life. Never my manager And my first producer, I didn't get that sense from him. But in general, I had my other issues with him. But in general, there's this like, yeah, okay, let's meet and talk about your music, but they want something else. And
Yeah.
it's just like I can't do this anymore. I'm not happy. I have no support systems in LA, and that's so important to have. You need people to say no, or hey, like, what the F are you doing? Like,
Uh-huh.
what are
Uh-huh.
you doing to yourself? Instead, they were just kind of feeding into that. And I said, like, I don't want to be like a cliche, and I'm out of here. So
Wow.
I don't think I could listen to any of those recordings for years without crying.
This is amazing. I had no idea about this part of
Oh,
your
you
because I
did?
had no, I had no idea that you had the whole music industry stint and that you just kind of crashed out and said fuck off, and then that's what led you to the desert. Um,
Yeah.
that is pretty crazy. Actually, I mean, I feel like it's even more impressive that you found your way back to a creative lifestyle after that,
Thank you.
right? Like that's amazing. So what called you back? You were doing school, you were going to be a freaking scientist.
Yeah, I was.
You were a scientist, okay. You were a scientist, but like why did you decide you were going to do art? Take me to art school, baby.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. So I was like, at some point, I just started taking art classes for fun while I
Yeah.
was doing the pre-med stuff because I was like, I need an outlet. I don't have my music. Every time I pick up or look at my guitar, I'm like freaking sad. I don't want to do that. So I would take art classes. I would take leatherworking and wood shop. And I love wood. I love the smell of wood and wood shop and sawdust. And so I started just taking art classes on the side as a release. And then I realized, wait a minute, like when it comes to designing and creating things, like I can put all of my interests into the art. I can put all of my rage, all of my sadness, all of my anger. I can include chemistry or biology or physiology. I can put science in there. I can put social activism in there. I can put psychology in there. I could put everything into art. This is perfect. Like,
Yeah.
it's not where in music, like, you almost have to have like a record that kind of all sounds the same and people can recognize it and stuff. I mean, in art you can too, but I didn't give myself those parameters. I said make whatever you want. And so I was just, I don't know, doing art, and my degree, and my one of my metal sculpture teachers said, why don't you apply for the honors program? I'm like, I already have a degree. She's like, well, why don't you go for an associate of fine arts at least? Because we just have community college here. And I was like, I already have one. She's like, well, just try it. And so I did. I only needed a few classes for it, but I fell in love with it, and then decided I needed a bachelor's degree, and it was like, oh no, COVID time.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I
This
went.
is an amazing story. You have Bruce lead your way through life.
I
Like
don't.
you're just like wham, wham, wham,
I can't.
right and left.
So I was like, well, what kind of degree can I do online through ASU? And it was a psychology. So of course I went for the bachelor's of science and psychology. So because my background is more in the science areas, and my minor was women and gender studies.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Yay.
Yes. I was like, I'm so in love with my minor. Like, I love this way more than psychology. It was so humdrum. Let's look at old studies and look at these old ideas. And they're just so old and awful. And I had to actually like develop my own research. I had to learn how to do analytics for statistics. And the moment I took statistics class, I was like, oh, I can see how people are using these wrong.
Uh-huh.
I can see the problems with this. And the moment I developed my own research, which is a huge undertaking. And I did it at Yavapai College and also at ASU, called Words Have Power, Redefining Misogyny for a Modern World. And I developed my own research, and I had my surveys, and I collected the data and analyzed the data, and it was like quasi experimental. So it was quantitative, meaning studying statistical numbers, but quasi experimental is that half the participants were given something that the other half did not have before they
Oh,
filled out their survey. I wanted to see if I could affect their scores on sexism, their ratings, by giving
yeah.
them modern definitions of key terms. And so I did all that. And so in doing that, you do a
Did
lot.
they? Hold on, hold on. What was the outcome of the study?
It wasn't, I don't think it was significant enough to say that I affected the outcome. So when you have a certain number where it's like they give you point 0.01 significance and stuff like that, even if it's not significant, it doesn't mean it's not valid research. It
Sure,
means what you did didn't make a difference
sure.
enough to say, hey,
Right.
this is something we could employ. So,
Yeah.
as someone, if I were to continue on in psychological research, I would further it by saying, okay, if this didn't work, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and see what I can do to change it, and then redo the study and see if you're getting different results.
Yes. Interesting. I think that's actually that's just an aside, but I think that study is interesting
Yeah.
because I do think that like I'm really curious to know about as a writer like what the impact of language is on people's perceptions of the world.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
language and semantics. And as like a post-structural feminist, I don't believe that these ideas are concrete. And
Hmm.
as a post-structuralist, I say no. Let's look at where we got this base of knowledge from. Who dictated this knowledge to us,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm very much into fluidity and understanding perceptions change, and nothing is concrete. And what I like about linguists, well, at least the feminist linguists that I follow, like Amanda Montell, they say, we study language, we don't push it in any direction. We study how it's going, the changes. And but I do think the way we use language is very important. I mean, even just determining what a word means when we use it. We could be fighting about something completely different if we can't agree on the word we're fighting about.
Correct. Yes. I've seen it so many times. It's so common actually for people to end up arguing about definitions instead of the actual matter at hand.
Right, and those definitions are important. We do need to agree on them, and they do evolve, and they do mean things differently now than they did before.
Yeah.
So, what I understand misogyny to be is not what the definition in the dictionary says as like the hatred of women. Misogyny is the police force, the police branch that enforces patriarchal norms. So, when people
Mm.
get out of line, that's when they get dealt misogyny. They're told they're too bossy, too pretty, too slutty, not slutty enough. So that's the police force, and women police the patriarchy a lot more than men do. So
Mhm.
it's things we have to kind of unlearn. So people
Yes,
go,
ma'am.
"Oh, I'm not a misogynist. I don't hate women." Like, well,
Mm.
this. How about this
Yeah.
definition? How's this fit? Okay, yes,
Yeah.
art,
I
art,
mean,
art.
that's happened with racism too, right? Like
Yes,
our parents' generation grew up with this concept of being colorblind as being
the idea,
a proof
the
that you're
goal,
not racist. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
I don't see
Instead, yes,
color.
exactly.
Instead
Yeah.
of I see your
Instead of
color.
recognizing. Yeah. And the structural, it's not just about your individual feelings
Mhm.
about it. It's about the structures that we put into place that perpetuate these injustices. I think that's
Right.
exactly the same thing you're saying.
And understanding that we need to categorize things in order to
Mhm.
understand injustice and inequities and inequalities. We do have to create these categories in
Mhm.
order to study them, in order to say,
Mhm.
hey, this group of people is being discriminated against. We
Yeah.
have to categorize things. It's human nature, but we can also evolve our categories. And also, they need an identity. If we've stolen their identity somehow, with society, they need a group identity as well. And let them name
Mhm.
themselves. Let them
Yes.
decide what terminology to use. So I take my cues from other people. And though my gender and women's studies was amazing and it does all kinds of fields of study, I and the books were all new, I learned a lot more about language from social media because it's
Oh,
that fast. Immediately,
yeah.
people will start, "Oh, wait, this is why this word is okay, and this is how to use it. This is what you don't use, da, 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 da," and reasons why. And so I would listen. I have trans friends and Black friends and communities that I follow and people who I listen to. And again, I'm not going to interrupt their space or disrespect them, but if they're let people like me who's like a cis white girl listen in and learn, I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel that too. I mean, I like my understanding of the different people that I coexist with in this country particularly has dramatically changed just by having access to those voices and being able to see internal conversations within different groups
yes.
and learn about how they're perceiving what's happening. And I mean, that is way more informative. I mean, I'm not an academic, and so I have a huge amount of respect for people that do this in a formal way.
Mm,
But for those of us that are just trying to be good people in the world, I feel like there is no better way than to
mm.
just plug in and pay attention,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Decenter yourself and listen to what people are saying and how they're saying it, and pay attention to anything that comes up when you start to feel uncomfortable and
Yes.
ask yourself why.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, sit with your discomfort. Why is this making me feel hostile? Why is this making me feel threatened? Why is
Right.
this making me feel sad? And that's a I mean, you do need space for that, and you do need a skill set for that,
Hmm.
but if you don't have it, then I feel like it's incumbent on you as an adult to go get
Right.
that.
I
Right?
mean, we're not going to conquer racism until white people start addressing it and thinking it's a problem and they have to deal with instead of just empathizing with those it affects. It
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
anti-racism. Yes, it is a journey because we all have
Yeah.
implicit biases from how we are raised and our experiences in the world. So addressing those can be really hard work, but it's so valuable. And I try to encourage others when I see it come out in them. I'm trying to be a lot more gentle. I think 4 or 8 years ago, I was I was very mean with my memes and stuff. And it felt good, but like there was a part of me who just couldn't. Like I just can't even with some of these people. And some of them were trolls mostly. If it's
Oh,
somebody
sure.
I if it's somebody I know, like I will take the time to try to understand, try to hear what they're saying, see if I understand them right, and then go into it a little more. But I definitely have learned not to waste my time with trolls anymore.
No, I mean, look, I feel like, because I have been in the social media space heavily for decades now. And the thing that I think has really tripped us up is this idea of all spaces are equal and all people have equal access to you.
Yes.
And I think that there are many people for whom you just are not an appropriate messenger,
Hmm.
right? And these are some of the most intense and important and fraught conversations that a society can be having.
Hmm.
And you can't just like entertain any and every person that comes to
Yes.
you and expects an explanation or an answer or whatever. And so I feel like we need to start creating some boundaries and spaces, but so that I my theory of change is that change only happens. First of all, you can't change people, they have to change themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And second of all, the only way that you can help them change themselves, if that is your goal as an activist or just a good person, is through relationship.
Mhm.
Like, people don't trust, they're not going to
Mm.
trust just any jackass, right?
Right.
The only way change happens in a person is it happens within, and it's often because of relationships that have reflected things back to them that give them pause.
Yeah.
And if you can't maintain a relationship with somebody, the right answer is to just walk away from them
Yes.
and say, you are not a person that I can have a positive impact on. I leave that to somebody else. And save your strength.
Yes.
Don't sit there on Twitter all day and just be like knocking your head against a wall.
Yep.
You're wasting your time and energy.
Mhm.
You're wasting your words, right? Find the people that you especially and uniquely have the ability to influence. And
Yes.
I mean, that is really unique to who you are as a person. And then focus your energy there. And everyone else can
Mhm.
just fuck off,
Yes,
right? In a nice
absolutely.
way, even.
Yeah.
Like, just fuck off. I just,
They could
you're
take it the
not
wrong
in
way, I
my.
don't care.
I'm a hippie. But you get it, right? You get it, right? Like, I like there are certain subjects that I can't advocate for reliably because they are so upsetting to me.
Mm.
I get so triggered, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And I am not an effective messenger
Mhm.
about. And
Mhm.
it's the same thing. There are certain people I just can't deal with.
Yes.
And the right thing to do is let those people be taken care of by the ones who can't. Like, so for example, then there are other things that I'm perfectly comfortable talking about that I know other people get triggered about.
Yes.
And so that's my job, right? I take
Yes.
that up. I'm very passionate about it. And I can also be very cool, calm, collected, reasonable, and effective in my communications. And to me, as a communicator, as a professional communicator, that's the most important thing. Am I engaging in an activity that actually allows me to do this in the best way? And if it's not, then something's got to go.
Absolutely.
All that is to say, fuck this nonsense of just sitting online and getting pissed off all day.
I know. Well, I got offline for a long time and would kind of check in. I do, like I said, I like those spaces that I can be a part of and hear commentary on what's going on. It does feel like it is a good place to kind of scream into the void. And if it rallies other people, I have noticed that not just from the cleansing of people off my Facebook list, but those who have been on there for a long time are definitely becoming more and more aware of things. And so I think there is good happening out there.
Yeah, yeah.
I see them changing their opinions, not you're not falling into the same traps over and over. So I do think it's useful. Again, we have so much time and space and energy. We have to decide what we're going to use it on. And so I feel really excited. Oh yeah, I got into where
Yeah, yeah. Let's scoot back to that
oh
because
my god.
what I'm really pushing us toward is how you're using your art. Because
Right.
you said a few minutes ago, you said something like, when you discovered that you could put all of your
Yes.
everything that you liked and that you cared about into this.
Mhm.
I'm really interested in how you got to that eureka moment and then what your steps were to be like, okay, I'm claiming this title of an artist for myself now.
Right. So
Yeah.
again, I guess I'm kind of lucky in that there's a part of me that really doesn't care what other people think about what I make, whether it was my music before or my art now, because I make it for very selfish reasons. It's
Mm.
for me. I need this. I need to say this. I need to build this. I need to make this. And if I decide I'm going to share it, hopefully someone else could understand some of what I'm trying to communicate. Then I think, well, that's effective then. It's effective if they got some of the messaging, that they don't need all the nuances, but if they get some of what I've put into
Yeah.
it, then fantastic. And so, like I said, it's very selfish. And I had a teacher just like lay into me. He's like, I told him this idea that I wanted to, because I really like this idea of expressing the passage of time in different ways. And I wanted to create this installation with these different colored water in these bottles with string and rope, and they would soak, and you would watch it move through the rope. And he was like,
Ooh.
"You're in Prescott, Arizona. This isn't New York. These people are dumb."
that
I was like,
makes me mad.
"Excuse me?
That makes me mad. Yeah.
Excuse me?" He's like, "They're not going to understand any of this, you know, physics or quantum physics, the things you like to talk about." And I was like, "This is okay." He was an awful teacher, by the way, but uh,
Clearly.
yeah. And I said, "Well, first of all, there are tons of intelligent people here. Many things I've created. I have people saying, 'Oh, I understand you're talking about like multiverse and quantum physics with this piece.'" And someone else will go like, "Ooh, look, it's a spaceship." Like, to each their own, but to say that
Right.
this particular area isn't not going to understand it or doesn't deserve to experience something like that is asinine,
Mm.
untrue. And then I said, well, first of all, I make it for myself. If someone else gets something from it, great. He goes, oh, that's so selfish. And I was like, I am not,
Oh my God. Who is this
like, I'm not,
motherfucker?
he's not there anymore.
Ah,
He also made fun of the deaf girl multiple times, and I reported him. I fucking reported him. I'm like, not on my watch. You want to pick on me? Pick on me. I'm bigger than you. I will fucking fight you on everything you say because I've thought about it more than you have, obviously. So I will fight him. I don't care. It made going into my one art class for my semester when I have 18 credits in research I'm working on a little combative and giving me stress instead of taking it away. But I was like, no, I'm standing up to this bully.
yep.
And I stood up to him in front of people. I stood up to him for people, and I reported him.
Good.
We had this really really talented deaf girl. She was in there just for a semester, and she was explaining this sculpture because she's deaf, but her husband was hearing, and she had these intertwining tongues, and it was kind of a loving tribute to her and her husband. And she was explaining it, and she has an interpreter there with her
Mm.
in class, and he's sitting there drinking his tea. And at some point, because she kept saying, well, I'm kind of having a hard time explaining it. And I understand because it's a very abstract concept. And
Yes.
visual art, especially when we're dealing in abstract concepts, words don't matter. They
Well,
don't.
that is the reason why you do
Yes,
art.
yes. So it is hard to put words to it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Art exists because there are things that we need
we,
to express that there are not adequate words for. Hello.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
And he sipped his tea and he said, you have to stop using your disability as an excuse for your inability to create art.
Oh, what an awful human being.
Awful. Awful. He did it
And
twice.
you still kept going, Rita. This is like amazing.
Well, I was like, you're not going to shut me
You're
down.
like,
He
clearly.
he got he enlisted other students to attack me
Oh my
in
God.
metal sculpture. And someone else in class walked in on the conversation, and she's like, I'm telling Rita like what you're doing. He literally
Fuck
told
yeah.
her, I'm a bad apple. I'm ruining everything while because I give good critiques, helpful critiques to people, and he doesn't. He's mean and makes them cry. And to get in my face, follow me around, try to run me out of the program or get me kicked out of the program.
Wow.
So needless
Wow.
to say, I have his job.
Oh, yes. Do you really? Are you now
I do.
in that position?
Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah. This is
Yes.
like excellent. This is Kendrick Lamar level revenge.
Oh, I wish.
Excellent.
I wish. Hey, Chris.
No, even, yeah. That is amazing. You are so funny. How come you're so fighty? I am too. But and I don't know where that came from, but I see this in you and I really love it. Like, and there's no reason for it. Like some people, and especially when it comes to women, like are just like so infuriated by injustice and bullying and the mistreatment of other people. And I think it makes us, because I'm actually an introvert, I'm
Me
a very
too.
creative person. I'm actually super like, I people stress me out and I get overstimulated and all of that. But like if I see something going wrong, if somebody's getting hurt,
Mhm.
like I'm like, it's going down.
Yeah.
And if I'm going down, you're coming with me. Like this is gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna make it stop. Like I just
Yes.
get rage.
Mhm.
Where does this come from?
I don't know. I don't know. Having to fight for myself my entire life.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe. Yeah,
Possibly.
maybe. Were you this way when you were little? I can't
I was
remember.
very shy. I would hide
Me
behind
too.
my parents' legs. I was very, very, very shy. And my mom, let's see, they divorced, and thank God I went to my mom's. The judge asked us who we want to live with, and I said my dad. Oh, he spoiled me rotten. Little did I know it was because I was his only biological daughter, so he treated me different.
Oh my God.
I didn't
I had
know.
no
I was
idea.
6. I didn't know what was
Yeah.
happening. I just knew dad gave me stuff and was nice to me. So I went to live with my mom, and it was like living with a total stranger. I
So at what age did you
like
go?
7, I think, but
Okay.
when the divorce was final.
Okay.
The judge said if I wasn't forced to live with her, I would never have a relationship with her.
No.
Yeah, it was kind of like living with a stranger. And she was
Hmm.
single mom, busy working and stuff. And my older sister is very antagonistic. She's 7
Uh-huh.
years older. And
Yes.
I cannot spend much time in a room with any of my family members.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my mom the most. I had to work on that relationship for like since my 20s because she threw me out of the house. Like I had to work on that. And I only started so I could get access to my little sister who had run away. So, like, I don't know. I think I was out in the world on my own. And more often than not, I would do pretty good for myself. Like, I was good
Yep.
at working at a fitness club, I was doing really well. And then, more often than not, in swoops some type of usually older man who wants something, but it's covert.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
in ambivalent sexism theory, there's this covert sexism and overt, and like one's very hostile and it's very easy to recognize, and we spot it like that. But the ambivalent, the subliminal, and the covert stuff is like, oh, they're just being nice, or they just want us to do well, or and it really is damaging to our self esteem. And if we feel like we can't call it out because they
Yeah.
can, it's easily deniable. That's not what I
Yes.
meant. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yep.
And so, you're constantly having to navigate their intentions. And then being young on my own at 18, and then these men who, some of them I admired for different reasons, would kind of get their claws. Well, I'm just trying to help, and I think you're really smart, and you could do anything you wanted. And, so it's all this like really lovely stuff, but the underpinnings is I want you, I want to control you.
Yep.
I think one said he planned on trying to knock me up so I'd be forced to marry him. I was like, what makes you think I
Ew.
would keep it? First of all.
Ew.
And
Yeah.
yeah, how awful. What an awful human being.
Yeah.
Um,
People don't understand. Like I was in a similar situation. I left home just a few months before I turned 18, and I had a really shitty abusive first marriage when I was 19, and in between all of this, between that time and when I actually got my shit together in my mid 20s, like being a young woman is really who is unattached, a young woman who doesn't have community, whose family doesn't have their back.
mhm.
It is such a dangerous way to live.
Yes.
And people just, I mean, the things that I've experienced, the things that I've been through, the way I've been treated, both in public and privately, I mean, I now as a 51-year-old woman, I look back at that and I'm like, I wish I'd had the guts. I wish I'd been stronger. But
Mhm.
I also was strong in some ways. Like and at some level, I always knew this is bullshit. But you don't have anything to fall back on.
No
Like
power.
sometimes somebody comes around and they have what you need desperately, and it's just so easy for young women to get used and manipulated because of it.
Mhm.
Even intelligent young women,
Yes.
right? And I think this is the thing. Like people just don't understand it. People don't, we don't understand it as a society. There's this idea of what it means to be, a woman in her 20s, and maybe if you come from some, I don't know, some, multi-generational established family that has a trust fund for you and, all of that, maybe it's better. I don't know.
I
But
don't
like for
know.
people like us, we're just like, you're just you're literally in survival mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I found myself in many, many dangerous situations and looking for mentors, never feeling like celebrity was anything I ever wanted. I didn't care. Living in LA, people have always thought that was weird. But I'm like, they're fucking people. They're just people. They're just people.
Yeah.
And and then I come to realize they're people with also warped sense of realities because of they're surrounded by people who are supposed to protect them, but also enable them. It's such a weird, weird world, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But even that being said, yes, no security nets, no nothing. And, I remember one saying to me, like, you're going to regret this. I have so much money. I was like, I'm not with you because you have money. I'm with you because you're smart. Like, you're the most brilliant person I've ever met, and you're accomplished. And I don't understand what you see in me other than being a young, other than sex. I know
Right.
I'm smart, but the age difference and the experience level difference, I couldn't see it. I don't get it. And then he would hold up examples of other younger and older, and I'm like, I don't get it. And you're gonna regret this. This is life changing money. And I was like, what? I really want to find true love.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
of course, having some sort of financial education is good. I mean, I've had to educate myself. No one in my dad gets $1, it's gone.
Yep. Yes.
So
Yes.
I've been.
Okay. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
um,
my god, I feel like I could talk to you for like
no,
3 years.
no. This is the thing, right? Like, and I get it. Like, I have this problem, but especially with you because it's just been so long. Okay. So,
Art, art,
so
art.
you, yes. So back to you, your fucking art teacher. Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Let me just back that up. Every truly great artist I've ever encountered read their thoughts about, they say the same exact thing.
Oh
I do it for me. I do it for me,
yeah. Oh,
right? You don't, like, if you're out there doing it for other people, you're not going to, it's not even possible.
I
It's
know.
not even possible, right? Like, that is not how you make art. That's how you make product.
Yes, that's
Right?
product catering to
Yes.
the
Yes.
market.
Yes, but for every artist or truly creative genius I know, and some of them are successful in the market, but that's not their purpose for doing it.
Right.
And they also don't feel the need to explain it in detail to people. They're very happy with having put themselves into this thing and sent it as a gift into the world, and people can do what they will with it. But you do it for
Right.
yourself. And so all of that is to say, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
That just makes me mad. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So,
Now you have his job.
I do.
How'd you get his job?
Well, after he was gone, another gal came in and she was really struggling. Students were like his little students were who were fans of him were attacking her because they wanted him back. I don't know what was going on. She was really struggling, so I stepped in to be like a lab assistant to maybe help her navigate some of the things because I've been taking classes at that school since 2011. I'm very familiar with the inner workings of how to do stuff, but it was a little too late, and she ended up quitting and moving back to Finland eventually, and doing her work there, living her dreams. So good for her.
Yeah.
And so I had met someone else, like my friend's boyfriend, who I was like, well, what about this guy? What about this guy? I wasn't thinking about it for myself. This was supposed to be my year off of school to decide if I'm going to go into a master's program, what would it be? And how do I do it without going into debt, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And
Yep.
so he jumped in, and I teched for him, and it was fine in the beginning because he could just like show people stuff. But when it came to like planning and coming up with syllabi and all kinds of stuff, he was really struggling. So I don't know whose idea it was for the co-teaching idea, but we co-taught for about a year, and I said, I can't do that anymore. I'll just gonna teach my own. I'm gonna
Yeah.
separate here. And so that's how it kind of came about, like accidentally. I
Yeah.
ended up
That's
teaching.
great though. And that just means it's karma.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay, so talk to me about your actual. Let's just.
Let's talk about art.
I know we're at an hour, but I'm going to keep going. So I just want to hear about the actual art that you do. You are a
Right.
sculptor,
Okay. Mhm.
and I love the fact that you're using these heavy materials, right? You use wood, you use metal. Your pieces are impactful.
They're just not, yeah, they're not meant only as decoration. They're deeply meaningful, but I do have a personal aesthetics, and I like to see things that I
Yeah.
enjoy looking at myself.
Yes.
Um, so you've met me at a weird point in my artistic career. I would say at this point, in my hero's journey of art, of visual art, I have finally, it's almost like there's a point in me that, like, I've gotten the knowledge, I've got the elixir. I'm not an academic for as far as art is concerned. I only have an associate's of art. I'm accredited based on my career and my experience and my gallery experience of over 10 years of working in these mediums. So I'm at this, I've always been at this precipice. Like, I just make. Sometimes I'll start into a series, and most artists in academia like are pushed into serial work and just work, bang, 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 bang. And, and then maybe you'll have some success. Maybe someone will recognize it. And I just can't. I have so many ideas. It's like, pow, 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 pow. I have 50 projects like in my next room already. Like, I have
Oh,
so many things to make and see through that. I will do some serial work, but it'll be in spurts or short series. And then I'm like, I have to move on to something else. Like, I have to get this out. I have to start seeing this develop. And so it's like all these spinning balls in my mind are always running around. So I've finally been able to like look back. I've made enough work over the last 10 years to understand myself more fully and being my more authentic self. I realized that there are actually like kind of two categories of work that I make. One is very much this waking life. It's
mm,
it's my reflections, my understanding, like my series Resurrecting Childhood Homes from Memory, because we've moved, I don't know, 13, 14 times. I don't know,
yes,
a bajillion
I
times.
know.
So I have these fragments, pieces,
Yeah.
furniture, colors, plastics, fabric, like little things. So I'll put stuff together. So my process in the waking life is I kind of assemble things, pull things together. Then I like destroy, remove, break it apart, disassemble, and then I reassemble them, recreate into something that makes sense to me, something I understand, something that
Mm-hmm.
I think is beautiful, that I can look at and say, oh, yeah, that was a house I was born in. And it doesn't represent the horrors, but it represents all the good things that my brain has kind of held on to, like
Oh, that's wonderful.
the color of my tricycle, which was pretty much the
Yeah.
same mint green as my house. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember the color of that house. It's like
We all painted your house. We
you
were over there painting your house.
uh, you know so I have like and I've donated some of these works to charity while receiving like scholarships and grants and stuff like that, to bring attention to housing insecurity. And there's always this, like, when you're talking about things that are very traumatic and how do I want to express my experience, I think in the art world there's a side that can be like trauma porn, like really
Mhm.
diving into the deep ugliness. And I
Yes.
think that doesn't always get the message across. Some people just won't look at it, won't ponder it, or it's almost like how I would feel being paraded out to accept in a scholarship or a grant at some point and have to tell my sad, sad story. So people
Yeah.
who gave me the money can go, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's that kind of feeling with some of it. So I try to make these works kind of beautiful and reflective. And so when someone else looks at it, they can understand. They might see a cross in there or what that might mean. I ended up building them up like Legos because that was my favorites aside from my model horses. So I ended up building up these structures almost like Legos, and put them on the wall. and each one has hidden meanings in it. Like my mom, she lived in a cabin with some guy.
Mhm.
They had a
Mhm.
loft. I remember it was like I think in the Los Gatos forest maybe.
Mhm.
And I remember Heidi teasing me. Um, she kept saying lost cat toes, or something. It was so little, and it was one room. And I went
Yeah.
to visit her, and it was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna roll quarters tonight, girls. And I thought it was a game. I'm like, oh, a game, rolling quarters. Yeah. That's not what rolling quarters means. It means you're broke.
Aw.
You're broke, and you got to roll the change that you've collected so you can buy
Yes.
things like food.
Yes.
Um,
Oh.
so in the one that represents that kind of the memories of that cabin, I have old like vintage wrappers of coin wrappers in
Oh,
it.
yes.
Heidi and I found these like vintage magazines back then from like the 20s and stuff. So I have some of that in there. I have writing. So if any of that ever peels off, I have like memories written in some of the panels and some of the sides. If it ever comes off, people will be able to see some of those very, very personal memories. But for me, I put them inside because those
Oh, that's so
are
cool.
mine, right? And until you
Oh, I
scratch the
love that.
surface, if you want to scratch the surface, you'll find other things. If you want to destroy it, it's up to you. Or maybe in time, it'll just, the newspaper part will come off. I don't know.
That is so cool.
But
I
that's
first of all, I love this
okay.
project. I mean, I love this. This is so cool, and I relate totally. I think I calculated at one time in my whole life, I've lived in like 30 different homes. Like, it's just, and I have that same, sometimes I like think back and I'm like, was that real? Did I really live there? Like, was
Mhm.
that like I get these like images, or sometimes I'll have a dream and I'll be like, it's so familiar, and I'm like, was that a real thing or was I dreaming it?
Right.
Or is it, like, it's just so disorienting. But there are little things that pick out, like, especially the house across the street from your house that
Yeah.
I lived in.
Yeah.
I have such vivid and strong memories. Ours was a yellow house.
Yes, it
Yours
was.
was mint green. Yeah.
Wasn't it 2
And
stories? 2 stories?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
We lived on the top floor,
Yeah.
and Debbie lived in the bottom.
I remember jumping on the bed and Faye, someone else smaller than Faye, hit her head underneath her chin
Yes,
and Faye bit through her tongue.
I remember this. Yeah.
We were
We
jumping on the
like,
bed.
how have we survived? I just do not know. I mean, wow. And we're still pretty rad, and like, you know,
Yeah.
we're like, we're doing it. It's pretty amazing. Do you ever sit back and just like marvel at your ability to survive and thrive?
Sometimes, oftentimes I'm busy moving forward.
Yes,
So,
right.
these pieces, like I say about my waking life, these are my moments of reflection. I
Mm,
have pondered things. I hated my parents at one point, and I spent the day with a guy from my acting school who was like, he's like, "It's Mother's Day. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm in LA. We're all orphans here." And he's like, "Oh, my mom's dead and I miss her. Can we go to the zoo?" I'm like, "Okay." And so he spent
aw,
all day talking about his wonderful memories of his mom, and I was like, by the end of the day, I just thanked him and I said, "You know, you've shown me how I want to be. Now I can sit here and dwell on the things that make me angry about my parents and the way I grew up. Or when I think back about them, I'm going to try to remember those lovely moments. And I'm going
mm,
to hold on to those instead.
yeah,
I'm going to let
yeah,
go of the other things. I'm an adult now. I
yeah.
can,
It's your choice.
yeah, I'm going to try to get over it as much as possible, you know?
Yeah, and I don't think it's like, that is not denialism. What that is recognizing I've had this body of experiences, and I'm going to choose to spend my time focusing on the ones that were good and that contributed to me being the person that I like, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to all the other stuff, which is, I mean, which is not to say that it doesn't still hurt and that you shouldn't honor it. And when it comes up, as it does, whether it's in therapy or just
Mhm.
driving down the road, you
Yeah.
should be kind to yourself
It's
with it.
there.
But it doesn't dictate who you are or
Right.
define you.
It may have helped shaped who I am, and so
Mm,
you know, in some grateful in some aspects. So, yeah, so I in my body of work, I've recognized now that I have this waking life, these things like my installations and my social activist stuff that I've only got a few pieces like that. And then my second work is like what do I call? I call it the lovey, and that's Finnish mythology for the space between like my waking life and the underworld. So I
Mm.
have sleep paralysis, I have extreme nightmares, I do lucid dreaming. And so a lot of my work has to do with sharing what those experiences are like. So a lot of work is just born from my subconscious, and I kind of birth it into the real world in these concrete ways. And um, in the Finnish mythology, which I am mostly Finnish. I think it's like 12% native. I have a tribal number in California, but I grew up with white privilege. I do
Yeah.
not know what it means to feel like being a native person because I don't have that experience. So I've kind of latched more onto my cultural identity through my Finnish roots. And it makes sense. A lot of it makes sense to me the more I kind of research into it. And so I have traveled, and your spirit, they believe you have like three souls, and you have like your body, which is the one soul when you take your first breath and you enter that body and you're breathing and steam and heartbeat. And then you have another soul that's like self. This is your self where you come into your own personality kind of, and this self, can travel in the night. It leaves your body, and it should travel not
Mm.
just the dream world, but that's why you don't wake someone up, because you might startle them before their self has come back.
Ah. Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then there's the third, which is kind of like the guardian spirits. So in like one of my triptychs, because I'll work in threes a lot, I realized it is a representation of each part of me. One is my waking life, where I have ripped up my paper on misogyny. I have candle wax and broken glass and all kinds of stuff in this triptych. And that is me screaming in my waking life about things, and my anger and my attempts at understanding and trying to fix things. And then the center one, which is actually behind me, but
Oh, yeah.
this one's the passage. So this is
Wow.
more of like me in the dream state, in that lucid dream, passing through this thin veil between consciousness and my subconscious. Um, it's almost into this magical world. And then the third one is a representation, which is sold, is a representation of my death. I
Wow.
actually died in my dream.
Wow.
So in this death, I was at an airport. It was like a nuclear bomb. But, I just remember closing my eyes and going, I have only a few moments. And it was just a whoosh. And I was like instantly vaporized. And
Mhm.
it'll make more sense when I put these images on my website. But I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel sadness.
Yes.
I didn't feel fear,
Yep.
anger, love, rage, nothing. I felt I felt myself kind of just going back into the universe, becoming one with the universe again, where I came from, and there was just utter it was just a completeness, utter contentment,
Yeah.
and I could feel myself, my Itsy, that part of my soul just kind of dissolving. It was like this all-knowing part of, this is where I came from and it's where I go back to. So after that dream, I wasn't afraid of dying anymore. I'm not in any hurry, but like
That's awesome.
after what we were
Yeah.
taught when we were young about fucking
Oh,
Armageddon
yeah.
and resurrection and sleeping and dying is just like being asleep. For someone who has horrible nightmares, that sounds terrible. And I think they gave me a lot
Yeah.
of nightmares
Yeah.
about demons and blood and all kinds of stuff. But so in the sleep paralysis, that's kind of like where I'm starting to go into the underworld. So have you had understand what sleep paralysis is?
I have never experienced it, and I don't know enough about it.
Good.
So tell us.
Okay, so it's that okay, the scientists come out. So that mechanism in our brain that also people who sleepwalk have an issue with. So when we sleep, our body paralyzes us, so we don't act out our dreams and like hurt ourselves and walk off
Sure.
cliffs. Now, people who sleepwalk become unparalyzed, and people with sleep paralysis, it's like a light switch, like or like a slice. All of a sudden, you're awake. You're 100% conscious, but you are completely paralyzed.
Hmm.
You can't
That's
move.
so interesting.
Um, Feels like a heavy weight maybe on your chest, dark presence in the room. I have lots of art where there's no eyelids or anything because I can see through my eyelids. I can see my room. I can see what's going on. I can't move. I can't scream. I can't move my body. And so when this reality comes crashing in while you're sleeping and you're awake, it then becomes very horrifying. Like everyone says throughout the cultures, the dark presence, the hag on your chest, they have similar experiences. I have a lot of auditory hallucinations. I'll hear my name. I've heard people breaking into my house when they're actually breaking into my neighbor's house. That's a whole other thing. But for me, like, so the underworld in Finnish mythology and culture is where the dead souls reside, and the shamans or people who can go into these trances and into these worlds to visit should be collecting some sort of
Hmm.
knowledge. But I mean, it's pretty terrifying sticking your toe, have like being forced into the underworld, it feels like when it's sleep paralysis. And I've had shadow things like attach themselves to me, to the house. I've had to try to get them out in different ways. My friend said in her cultures it's like astral traveling, where you leave and you can see things that are going on. Like when I said I had, a lot of times I'll think I wake up, but I'm still in it. So it's almost waking out of the paralysis and going into the lucid part. So I'm start walking around this world, which looks similar, but there's
Mm-hmm.
distortions. So that's how I can kind of tell I'm still in
Yeah.
it because I can see the distortions. But I see this demon faces, and I was locked out of my apartment, and I was like, "Oh, they see me. They have all this music equipment." I thought they were stealing my music equipment, but when I looked at them, their faces were like half demon, half human. And I had my phone in my hand somehow, and there was a red button. It said panic. So I pressed the panic button, and I already knew they're going to have my wrong address. I moved so much, they're not going to know where I'm at. And a demon person came grab me behind, and from the corner of my eye, I see a white van pull up with like 10 people file out with bats. The demon lets go. I go back into my house. I see myself on the couch sleeping,
Hmm.
and I slam back into my body and actually finally wake up for real. I was so freaked out by it. I called my friend after a couple hours, went back to sleep, woken up with a door knock. It was my neighbor asking if I heard anything weird last night because someone stole a bunch of their musical equipment.
Wow.
And I just like, I panicked because I'm like, am I still dreaming?
Uh-huh.
Have I actually woken up? And I didn't say anything. I just said no, because that is just too flippin'
Yeah.
weird.
No, I get it.
It's
Yeah, for
too much.
sure. For sure. But I also think, like, dude, I am not woo. I tend to be way on the rational side, but that's more because I think
Yes.
of you know, just the way I was raised, and immediately reject anything that sounds like it could be weird. But one, I think it's important to have spiritual practices regardless. You don't have to like believe that they're even literal, but it's important to have something there because there are so many things that we don't understand in life and in the world,
Yeah.
and we have to have some kind of mechanism for coping with those things and explaining them to ourselves. Um,
Mhm.
but then also, I've had
Yes.
dreams where that are just s- accurate. Like I know things are coming. Like and
Yeah.
I will every time I have a dream like this, and it always like I hate saying this because it sounds so dorky, but like I know, like I dream about things that happen that are going to happen, right? And
Mhm.
every time I have a dream like that, I wake up like just boom, I'm up like wide awake in the middle of the night. Like I have this dream and I'm like,
Mm.
and then I'm like, oh my god, what does that mean? And then inevitably within a
Oh,
day or two, I'll hear something and I'll be like, whoa, right? And this is like
yeah.
dreaming about some coworker who wasn't, I hardly even ever saw, just this guy that used to come into the office every once in a while. And then I dreamed about him, and it was like a really intense dream. And then the next day I go to work and he'd committed suicide. Like I have these
Oh,
kinds of
man.
dreams, right? That are just like,
Yeah.
whoa. And I
Mhm.
don't say this because like, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. But I am
I'm not
crazy.
woo-woo
I
either.
am crazy, apparently.
I do love science and think understanding, but yes, there are things we just can't explain, things we don't
Yeah.
understand, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think that that's why like artistic people get a bad rap for being woo and kind of weird and whatever. But I actually feel like we are dealing with reality really well. Like, because we're willing to make space for things that don't make sense and find ways
Mhm.
to accommodate the parts of ourselves that we don't understand and find ways to channel our thoughts and our feelings that are so hard to articulate into other things, into our creative work. Whereas, to function as like a whatever, the VP or some middle manager in a multi-billion-dollar corporation is actually a delusion. Like you're literally living a lie. And to pretend
Mhm.
like everything is like this a certain way and that you are this certain thing and that this is your destiny or your purpose and like all of that is just crazy to me. So
It is,
that
yes.
that is actually
Absolutely.
denying reality right there. Because the reality
It
is
is.
the world life is crazy.
Well, that middle manager only works in this economic system.
Yep.
So that book I shared with you, like a Marxist theory on mental illness, like psychiatric
Yeah.
hegemony. Um, I love that book because it calls out so many of these deep rooted feelings I already sense about the world. And it calls out these systems, and psychiatry and psychology, those are systems and institutions, and they are meant to control. They are meant to say these people fit into this little package for our capitalist
Right.
economy. These people are other. And so it explains a lot. We're not delusional. We're not out of our minds. We have anxiety because we're not living fulfilling lives. We're struggling to survive with our basic needs not being met, and nobody is really addressing that. They're just saying, "Oh, try breathing exercises. How about a pill?" or something. And it's not it. Why don't we address the elephant in the room and talk about what's causing these
Yeah.
things?
Yeah.
And yeah, rage against this machine because it's not built for
That's
us.
right. That's right. And I think that's why art is so fucking transgressive when it's being done in a genuine sense for self-expression,
Mhm.
because there's nothing that hegemony hates more than self-expression. Right?
Right.
And it is. And just so by its very nature, it's transgressive, and artists are always demonized and pushed to the margins and treated like weirdos, right? Unless they
Mhm.
are the kind of artists that you can capture and produce and sell. But I don't know that many real artists that want that, because there's a
Mhm.
there's a deal. You make a deal with the devil when you get that level of
You do.
success and notoriety. It's really rare to see extremely successful artists who are willing to stand up to whatever the narrative is, the dominant narrative.
Because it's all the
Yeah,
money,
that's right.
all the people with money who control that world,
Right.
and it really depends on your vision of success and your definition of success. If I make enough money to take care of myself and I'm comfortable and I'm not worried, that to me is being my level of success that I want to achieve. If nobody knows my name, I really wouldn't care. So as long as I could do what I love and make money at it, I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel that's successful. So like I said, we do talk about art being selfish, but in my second, and like I said, there's kind of two sides to my art. One is dealing with my subconscious a lot, and the other is dealing with my waking life. And that's where the social kind of activist or experiments come in for me. I did one in which I created the Pantone color of the year was like this very pretty violet color. And so I put it in the middle of the spectrum between baby blue and baby pink. And I put it in a bar, and I had little tabs. And I just said on my instruction was place a tab on this spectrum of sexuality that fits you. No other explanations. I didn't say gender. I didn't say like biology. Nothing. This is the most vague thing you could do, and I do recognize that we have hangups about the colors baby blue and baby pink in this society, and that have been reversed since like the 40s. It used to be
That's
pink
right.
for boys. So I understand that people are going to be drawn to one because they associate it with something. So just watching people interact with this board in a bar setting in Prescott, Arizona, where a lot of the population is very much older, very right leaning. It was fascinating. I loved it. People put things off the board, above the board, below the board. On one of the blue corners, there was like a stack. They couldn't be way over here
Wow.
enough. I thought, wow, that really says a
That really
lot.
says a
Um,
lot.
but the majority, there was just so much all over the board. My point was just to get them talking to each other about it, and not giving them a
Yeah.
binary. There was a bit. It's not like a full rainbow
No.
spectrum, right? This isn't. I'm not like doing a fabulous meme or something. It was just like a slight binary saying that there's all this in between. There's all this other area between what you might perceive as pink and blue. And I did it a couple different times. So I loved it. I was like, the scientist in me was like, ha ha
That's
ha.
amazing.
This is fantastic. How do I quantify this? No. But I was like, no, forget it. Just do it when I can. But the other one that I'm really pushing now and have already, it came out in August. The faculty show is like hashtag end human trafficking, because I thought, look, this is something that's a menace. People are making trillions of dollars off of this. It's clandestine, it's everywhere, it affects so many people. And both political parties have people who care about it. But sadly, there's a lot of conspiracy theories on the right that people have just really run with. And so I thought, well, I can educate. Maybe I'll try it. I'm an artist. I can create good visuals. I can help explain or at least get them thinking about things in another way. I don't need to preach at anybody, but I do need to, in my education, in my sharing of this dilemma, I'm going to emphasize those communities at risk that are more vulnerable, children and people of the LGBTQIA plus community, those people who are left out of
Yep.
others' activism. So it was my attempt to build a little bit of a bridge between the people who may not want to be in the same room together, to talk about this, and just to bring awareness to the subject. So I've entered it in another show in Flagstaff, so we'll see if they want to do it or not. And I'll be presenting it at the Peace Summit at the college in April, presenting the same work. And like I said, art can feel so selfish. This does not feel as selfish. Like, to me, parts of it are. I thought, oh, they're using this like handprint, right? The stop. This is the universal sign for
Yep.
stop, no matter what language is. And the color is blue. So I immediately thought of Yves Klein, this crazy
Yep.
French artist who
Yes.
patented international pine blue,
Yeah.
right? And he has this picture of himself with his hand and it's blue. And I said, that's going to be my symbol. So I painted it huge in this like 4 foot by 5 foot big wooden panel. And I found the paint. They still make it in
No
France. And I found
way.
someone in New York who sells it, and I ordered it. So those are the selfish things for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
right? Oh, and I also included an image in my presentation of him, because that is the source. And as artists, we build on others' ideas. We don't steal them, but I'm using that iconic kind of in that color, a blue handprint, to say, hey, stop,
Yeah.
pay attention right now. Let's look at this. And so I made a little enamel pins with the handprints. So I sell them at any of the shows for $10 a piece. And I pick a charity that is inclusive. I've been in touch with the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network, and I use all the government hashtags. I never include anything that says like call ICE, because I'm like, are you out of your
Get out of
mind?
here.
No, don't call ICE. Don't call ICE. Call this number, right? And it has all the information on it. So I donate it to someone in that local area who is inclusive in their activism, who provides resources. So to help those vulnerable people, because literally, if you don't have enough money, you're vulnerable, period.
100%.
Children, vulnerable. I in my artist talk, I might get a little preachy because I just wing it. And I'm like, if your child is telling you they're gay, love them. Accept them. Don't push them out into the arms of strangers, because they will find that love somewhere else, and it might be a trafficker.
Yeah.
So starts at
Yeah.
home.
I have zero tolerance for this. Yeah. Like,
I'm just gonna
yeah,
like
no.
sometimes I start crying because I point out, they find part of the thing is they have these blue crumpled paper. They're littered all around the gallery. And the sign on the big blue poster board says, because it's another piece, says, please help find us. We are hidden in plain sight. So if you find one of these crumpled papers, you open it, it's a missing child poster from Nick Mick, and they put it on the board.
Wow.
That is their action. And I said, that's all I want them to do. One action. They've looked at one face. If that's all they do, fine. They've looked at one face and they put it up there. Oh, I gotta cry again. So, and I look at the end, and it's just covered with all of these children who are missing. And I'm like, this is just such a tiny fraction. This is Arizona. This is this month. And this is just the children.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, what can I do to not buy things that are made in human trafficking? And I went down that rabbit hole. Holy smokes. You can't. You can't. Because literally almost nothing has been ethically sourced or made. So the only thing I can say is stop consuming so much.
Yeah. I mean, kind of related to that, the thing that woke me up to that was the Congo situation, right? Those minerals that they're bringing over are the foundation for literally our entire lifestyle. And it's really like you come up to this, where you see something that's so wrong and you're like, how do I extract myself from this? And then you realize you're trapped in it, and it becomes incredibly like demoralizing and frustrating, and you get really, really angry. And I think that's good. You should be angry, right? It is an injustice and whatever. And no, you can't completely drop out of society and go live off the grid. I mean, you can, but like that's just not a reasonable option for all of us. And so then you have to realize, like, then you have to like sit down with yourself and be like, what can I do? What can I do? Yeah.
Pick one thing. If you can just pick one thing, pick one thing. And do that.
Yes.
Because it is so overwhelming. It's soul crushing and devastating. And it can make you feel demoralized. And I forget who this woman was. Mostly I get my knowledge from very wise, smart Black women. But they've been through it, right? They have a lot. They talk about having to deal with soul crushing existence. And she said, you cannot let this destroy you. You cannot take this in and let it fester like a wound and eat at you. You take it and you let it feed you, and you feed you, and you put that back out into the world, and you chew it up, and you say, this is how it should be. You use it for your activism. You do not let it destroy you, which I think some people, especially who are very sensitive and stuff, can just feel this soul crushing part and just want to stick their head in a hidey hole, So I understand that. And so I am trying very hard to take this rage and this devastation and do something. And this part feels very not selfish. Nothing's coming to me. I'm not trying to bring attention to myself. I'm trying to bring attention to something else. So I think it gives me that balance I needed in my work, because when so much is going on, it feels like, oh God, my work is so selfish. It's about me and my experience. Like, who fucking
Right.
cares? Who cares? Why should I make anything anymore with all of this? But I realized, like, I can find a balance.
Yeah.
I can find those little things that I can do. And so with my work, it's some of the work in my waking life. It talks about housing insecurity or vulnerable populations or trafficking or being accepting, learning how to accept different gender identities, whatever it may be. Like that I can do that.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I think that that is really perfect. I worry a lot about the line between art and propaganda. And I think how you're going
Mm-hmm.
about it is the artist's path, in that you are putting yourself into this thing in order to share a message and extend an invitation. I love how interactive your art is, right? Extend the invitation for people who have the courage to step forward and say, I'm going to look at this picture of this child's face and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge what it means and I'm going to put it on this wall and I'm going to be part of this statement. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
that is art done well. And I have so much respect for that. It doesn't, you're not there to, this goes back to what we were saying earlier. You're not there to tell people what to do or how to think. You're there
Right.
to
You
invite them
can't.
to self-reflect and to make
Yes.
adjustments based on
Mm-hmm.
the understanding that that brings them, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's what I love about art. It should be reflective. It should cause something questions to come up within
Yeah.
you. And that's why I'm not so didactic in my message. Everyone can agree human trafficking bad.
Yes.
Yes, but that's not the message. The message is, what are you going to do? And here, now you know about it. What can you do? Here are different things you can, offerings, or just send them on their way. Maybe they'll go and start their own program. But I don't like the didactic art, the one that has like, this is blah. You look at it for 3 seconds, you look at the title or something, you get the message, and I never want to see it
Right.
again. It didn't invite me into their
Yeah.
world, into the conversation. It didn't make me want to reflect. I don't think that, to me, is the most successful art. I think that's really boring. So I want to hear other people's thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell you how tickled I was to just be a fly on the wall in those bars, like,
That's awesome.
and watching these people like mess with stuff and talk to each other about it. And I even had one man come to me and said, my son just came to me, and now I have a daughter.
Ah,
And he's like, I've never, and I was the only person in that room he felt he could talk to about
wow.
that, because it's such a different experience for them. So I feel like it just opens the
Yeah.
conversation. Can we please just have civil dialogue about
Yeah.
things? Let's talk about it and why we feel this
Yeah.
way. And again, because it matters what your friends think and not what a stranger thinks, having people interacting with each other who they know, I think is like, yes.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'll probably do some more of those again.
Okay. The judgment is in. You are fucking awesome. Like, I just love you. Like, I love you. You are so rad.
I love you too. You want to be my sister?
Yes, this is so great, dude. Okay. I just a part of it, I think, is because we have sort of such similar backgrounds that it just feels like really easy. I don't feel like I have to explain certain things and you understand certain motivations, but also just to know that, actually I've had this, all of our friends, all our little friends. Like, I still keep in touch with all my friends from back in Santa
Oh,
Clara.
wow.
And well, not all of them. Some of them have gone their way and some of them just haven't made it.
Right.
But the ones that have, like, we're like a ragtag little group. Uh-oh. Do we have a new guest?
Yes, come in. Sit, come in.
I hear is one of your dogs snoring? Hi,
Baby.
baby.
Say
Hi,
hi.
baby. Those ears. What is this doggy's name?
Her name is
Oh,
Suki.
Suki.
She's my Suki. She's 3. She's my partner had her before we got together, and she's just a little sweetheart, little princess.
I love her. Aw. I hear
Sorry.
snoring.
She's just kept
Do you have
pawing
another
him.
dog that's snoring right now? Maybe it was something else. I don't know.
I do hear that.
It's okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
Right?
yes. Oh my God, she's right there. She's right in front. This is a good
Yeah,
microphone
it's so awesome. I
on the
love it.
computer. Yeah, she's snoring. She's deaf now. She's 14, but yeah, she snores. That's her.
Sweet baby.
I'm so sorry for interrupting you.
No, this is great. I love this. Okay, we have got to wrap up now, but you will
Yeah.
come back. I insist that you come back because this is like part one of
Okay.
100 conversations we need to have. And
Okay.
I will put links to all your stuff, in the show notes so people can find
Oh,
you. Yeah.
that reminds me. Again, I just got my invitation for web
I don't know
glaze.
what that is.
So, okay, so the University of Chicago developed Glaze and Nightshade as free programs so that you can load your digital images into them. It puts like this clear filter on
Oh.
it so that it confuses generative AI scrapers, kind of drops a little poison in there too.
Sweet.
So it wasn't working on my Mac. So they have a web glaze version. And it took almost 2 months to get the invite because I've been backlogged. So the web glaze version, I have to send them my images. They'll glaze it for me and then I can upload it. So my site is being revamped right now. I've been holding off on the images. My statement will be a little different. My bio will be better. That's what I'm working on now. So I don't know when you plan on putting this out, but
It'll probably be
I would
at
like
least
to have
6 weeks because I have a queue of
okay, because
episodes.
yeah, and we talk so much, you have a lot to edit.
No, actually, I'm not going to edit that much because this is fucking awesome. Like this conversation is just, I'm stoked right now. I'm like, this is exactly the conversation I want to have on this podcast, right?
Okay,
Like
cool.
this is exactly the kinds of this is why I started this podcast. And yeah, I'm jazzed right now. But I'm so grateful that you have taken the time and that, that I'm able to be in touch with you after 40 years, 40
I
plus
know,
years.
but I feel so connected and close with you because I read everything, or obviously not everything, but I read what you're putting out into the world and I'm like, yes, yes, get it, yes. And I feel so close and I'm like, this is a comrade, this is an ally, this is someone I love and I respect and I appreciate, and I want more of these types of people around me. So thank you for everything that you do because I know how hard it is to do that kind of stuff on the regular
Aw,
basis.
thanks. I mean, I'm just doing what I want to do, which is awesome.
Yay!
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I will say that, yeah, I feel like there's so much shit that social media has done wrong in the world, but I do feel like the ability to find your specific people, the people that resonate with you and that can help
Yeah.
reinforce your beliefs and your values and your hopes and dreams is such a gift because you're not stuck geographically. You can find those people
Yes.
everywhere. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm a big believer in building your own tribe. Like I'm a big believer in like finding good people, bringing them to you in
Yes.
any way you can, and making sure that space is safe.
Thank you so much for even considering me. And yes, I feel like you and I could have 1,000
Yeah.
conversations. We could delve into the meaning of one piece of work or one idea, or we could just spin off into all kinds of philosophies. But like, I love talking to
Likewise.
you.
Likewise. All right, well, we'll do it
Such
again.
a okay.
All right, Rita, thanks for coming on.